Two friends and one big dream. Pip the field mouse and Barnaby the bear cub were the unlikeliest of friends in Sunbeam Meadow. Pip was tiny, quick, and saw the world in a blur of exciting possibilities. Barnaby was big, slow, and saw the world as a delicious buffet of berries and honey. But despite their differences, they shared a secret. One colossal, magnificent dream. Their dream was to fly. Not just hop a little like the rabbits, or glide from a branch like the squirrels. They wanted to soar high above Sunbeam Meadow, past the tallest pines, and touch the fluffy white clouds. Every day, they'd sit on a mossy rock, watching the birds. "If only I had wings," Pip would sigh, wiggling his nose. "And if only my paws weren't so heavy,"
Barnaby would grumble, patting his tummy.
They tried everything. Pip made tiny wings out of leaves, but they just fluttered to the ground. Barnaby tried flapping his arms like a bird, but he only managed to wobble. They even tried jumping from the lowest branch of the big oak, which mostly resulted in giggles and a soft thud. One afternoon, they watched a dandelion puff float gracefully on the breeze. "Look how light it is," Pip squeaked. "Maybe we need to be lighter." Barnaby tried to look lighter, but mostly he just looked hungry. They decided to find something that could carry them. Pip, being small and quick, scurried through the tall grass, searching. Barnaby, being large and strong, climbed trees, looking for sturdy branches. Pip returned, almost breathless, dragging a giant, dried pumpkin shell. "It's round and hollow. Maybe it will float like a cloud." Barnaby, meanwhile, had found a huge, sturdy vine, thick as his arm. "And this can be our rope." Together, they hauled the pumpkin shell to the top of the highest hill in Sunbeam Meadow. Pip, with his nimble paws, tied the vine to the pumpkin shell. Barnaby, with his strength, anchored the other end to the stoutest tree on the hilltop. "But how will it fly?" Barnaby pondered, munching on a stray berry. "Wind," Pip declared. "We need a really big gust of wind." They waited and waited. Days turned into a week. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, but nothing strong enough to lift a pumpkin, let alone two determined dreamers. They grew disheartened. The dream of flying seemed too big, too impossible. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples, Pip felt a tiny tug on his whiskers. A strong, steady breeze was picking up. "Barnaby!" "Look," Pip squeaked, pointing to the pumpkin, which was swaying gently. Barnaby, who had been dozing, blinked awake. "It's the sunset wind," he rumbled. "It only comes at dusk, and it's always the strongest." They scrambled into the pumpkin shell. It creaked and groaned as Barnabas' weight settled. The wind howled, tugging at the vine. The pumpkin lifted an inch, then two. Then, with a mighty whoosh, the vine snapped. The pumpkin, with Pip and Barnaby clinging on for dear life, soared into the air. "We're flying," Pip shrieked. His whiskers flattened against his face in sheer delight. Barnaby gasped, his eyes wide. Below them, Sunbeam Meadow looked like a tiny green blanket. The tallest pines looked like small bushes. They rose higher and higher, the air cool and crisp against their fur. They touched the fluffy white clouds, giggling as the misty softness tickled their noses. They saw the entire world spread out beneath them, golden and beautiful in the sunset light. After what felt like hours, the wind began to soften. The pumpkin gently drifted down, landing softly in a patch of wild daisies. They tumbled out, dizzy with joy. "We did it, Barnaby!" Pip cried, doing a happy little jig. "We flew!" Barnaby let out a delighted roar, a happy sound that echoed through the now dark meadow. They hadn't built a perfect flying machine, but their combined efforts, Pip's cleverness, Barnabas' strength, and their shared, unshakable dream had made the impossible possible. As they walked home under the twinkling stars, tired but triumphant, they knew one thing for sure. The biggest dreams might be the hardest to catch, but they were definitely the most wonderful to share.